Today we're making this Macrame Pixel Nativity wall hanging. Hi friends! For this project you're going to need 3.35mm single strand cotton rope. You're going to need a 12-inch wooden dowel, good quality sharp scissors, and I find it helpful to have a macrame board and some T-pins. And hot glue is also optional. Also, I find it helpful to have a highlighter to highlight your grid pattern. Speaking of which, take a screenshot of the grid pattern now. Alrighty, let's get started. Attach all of your 23 cords onto your 12-inch wooden dowel using a lark's head knot. To tie a lark's head knot, you want to fold your cord in half and then take the loop end and place it over top and behind your wooden dowel, and then thread your long tail ends through the loop. Alright, go ahead and attach the rest of your cords onto your wooden dowel. Okay, let's go over the grid pattern first before we start. Each square on the grid represents a vertical double half-hitch knot in that corresponding color. And for the first row, we work from left to right. Now for this pattern, we're going to work it a little bit differently. We have 23 squares all the way across, and we also have 23 lark's head knots all the way across the top of our dowel. This means that when we tie each knot, we're going to tie it around 2 cords and not 1. And as you can see, for the first 2 rows, it's all solid white. Grab a long strand of your rope and place it behind the first 2 sets of cords, with your short tail end on the left and the long on the right. Make a loop on your right, wrap your long tail end around and through the loop. Cinch up the slack, and as you can see, all we really did was wrap it around the first 2 sets of cords. So to complete your knot, you want to do the same thing. Make a loop on your right, wrap your long tail end around and through the loop. Cinch it up, but not too tight because you want to be able to slide it all the way up to the top. Now the first knot always looks different, so let's do the second knot together. So using the same strand of rope, you want to place it behind the next set of 2 cords, make a loop on your right, wrap your long tail end around and through the loop, cinch it all the way up to the top, and then repeat. So make a loop on your right, wrap your long tail end around and through the loop, and cinch it all the way up to the top. And that is how you tie a vertical double half-hitch knot. Now I'm doing a macrame Christmas tutorial every single day for the month of November. So far I've done 11, including this one today. If that is something you're interested in, I invite you to subscribe so you don't miss a new pattern. Alright, I'm gonna skip ahead and complete this first row. Alright, I'm almost finished at the end, but as you can see, I ran out of cord. If this happens to you, don't worry, just tuck your tail end behind your work, and then we're gonna grab a new piece and attach it just like we did right at the start of our project. And this is exactly why I don't give out the measurements for your working cord. Because in all honesty, you're always going to run out and you're always going to have to attach a new piece. So my advice to you is to use the length that you're comfortable working with. For me, that's roughly about 60 inches, which is about my arm span. At that length, I find that I can tie a lot of knots and I'm not constantly pulling my working cord through the loop. But like I said, work with a length that is comfortable for you. And don't worry about all those tail ends, just tuck them behind your work. We will deal with them at the end of our project. If you're enjoying this macrame tutorial so far, or you're finding value in it, please do me a huge favor by clicking the thumbs up button. That really helps me out and it's greatly appreciated. So thank you so much for doing that. I really truly appreciate it. My whole goal here is to help teach and inspire anyone who wants to learn how to macrame. At the time of recording this, we're almost at 50,000 macrame friends here. I would seriously cry happy tears if we reached the 50,000 subscriber mark by Christmas. It would be a Christmas miracle. Okay, carrying on with our wall hanging. Taking a look at our grid, we went all the way straight across. Now what we need to do is go back in the opposite direction. So to do this, we're going to grab the same working cord that we were working with in the previous row and go back in the other direction. So bring it behind the last 2 sets of cords, make a loop on your left this time, wrap your cord around and through the loop and repeat. So essentially it is the exact same thing we did for the first row, only we're going backwards. Now if you ever find that I'm going too fast for you, you can always adjust the speed of this video by tapping the 3 dots on the top right corner, or you can always go check out my knot tutorial playlist. Taking a look at our pattern again, we're going to work from left to right, and as you can see right in the center we need to switch to a different color. Now because our color change is right in the center, what I like to do is to count out my cords first. I find it easier to count it out now rather than count it out while I'm tying my knots. Once I reach where my color change is, I just want to double check that the other side is even, and then I'm going to flip those cords up and out of the way. Grab the same working cord and we're going to work from left to right this time. Once you reach where your color change is, grab the same white working cord and just place it off to the side because we're going to need that cord later on. Bring down those cords that you had flipped up, and what we're going to do is we're going to attach a new piece just like we did at the very start of our project. So anytime you run out of length of your cord or you need to switch to a different color, we're always going to attach a new piece just like this. However, the only difference you may have is if you're working in the other direction. Right now we're on a row that works from left to right, so your short tail end will have to be on the left. If we're working in the opposite direction, then your short tail end will have to be on the right. Just be mindful of which direction you're going, that's all. Okay, so now we need to switch back to the white. So to do this, grab your same Marsala color and you're just going to lie it down flat. Then take your previous white strand of cord and lift up the 3 filler cords in the center. What we're going to do is we're going to run it underneath our work. You want your white working cord on top of your previous color, but underneath the white filler cords. Then all you have to do is grab the next set of cords and tie your vertical double half-hitch knots just the same as before. I do have a tip though, make sure you're not pulling your running cord too tight across the back, otherwise it might cause your wall hanging to pucker. Also, if you have to skip from one side all the way to the other side, I think it's better just to attach a different piece than run it all the way across the back. Okay, so continue zigzagging all the way down your grid pattern. Once you've completed tying all your vertical double half-hitch knots, unpin it from your board and flip it all the way over to the back. It's time to clean up the mess on the back. Now, if you're familiar with my tutorials, usually I'm using yarn as my working cord and I like to tie a double knot. But over the years, I have found that when I'm using rope, it's better just to tie one single knot, because when you tie 2, it makes it really bulky and it doesn't lie flat on the wall. So now what I do is I tie 1 knot, I trim off the ends really short, and then I seal it with just a little bit of hot glue. It's only enough to help prevent it from fraying and to lie flat on the back of your wall hanging. Now another option is if you don't want to tie all those knots and use hot glue, what you can do is you can add a backing instead. I find adding a backing looks much more professional, plus you can add your signature as well. If you want to know how I do that, click the link on the screen now, and I'll see you over there.